There is a particular feeling that comes with being summoned by someone who has no reason to summon you. It is not quite fear. It is not quite excitement. It sits somewhere between them in a place I didn't have a word for. I followed the guard through corridors I had never been permitted to walk. And with every step, one question repeated itself like a drumbeat underneath my ribs. Did he tell me to leave, or did he tell me to leave because he wanted a reason to call me back? The guard didn't speak. He walked ahead of me through the upper palace corridors, the ones I had no clearance for, lined with tapestries and wider torch sconces, and that particular quality of silence that exists only where power lives. I kept my expression neutral. I kept my hands from twisting together. I kept my breathing even. I was doing very well until we stopped in front of a door that was taller than any other door I had ever stood before, and the guard knocked twice, and a voice said, "Enter," and the door opened. The study was not what I expected. I had imagined something cold, stone, and authority, and the deliberate absence of anything soft. Instead, it was full of books, floor to ceiling on every wall. Older volumes alongside newer ones, annotated in margins with a handwriting I somehow already knew was his. A fire burned low. A map on one wall marked with 100 red pins. And behind the desk, heavy and dark and covered in documents, sat the Alpha King of Veilthorn. He looked exactly like himself, which is to say, he looked like nothing I knew how to handle. "Miss Cross," he said. "Your Majesty," I said. He looked at me with those gold eyes that had a habit of making me feel examined down to the structure of my thoughts. Then, closed the door. He rose from behind the desk and moved to lean against its edge, arms crossed. Still several feet between us. Still enough and not enough. "I need to understand something. Last night, you were not sent, you were genuinely lost." "I was genuinely lost," I confirmed. "And your first instinct was to help." "My first instinct was to leave," I said honestly. "I didn't." Something moved in his expression, not quite a smile, the shadow of one. "Why?" The truthful answer. "Because you looked like you were in pain and trying not to show it, and I have never been able to look away from that in anyone." Instead, I said, "Because it was practical. You were bleeding." He looked at me for a long time. "You're not afraid of me." It wasn't a question. It sounded almost like a problem. "Should I be?" I asked. He didn't answer. He turned back to the desk and said without looking at me, "I need your discretion. Permanently, not just about last night, about anything connected to me." He paused. "I need you available." Available. The word settled in the room strangely. "For what?" I asked. "I'll tell you when I know. You'll continue your work as scribe. You won't discuss this conversation. And you'll come when I send for you." I should have said no. Instead, I said, "All right." He nodded once, like it was already decided. The guard walked me back. I didn't speak. I felt altered, like something had shifted inside my chest slightly to the left of where it had been, and I didn't know if that was good or bad or neither. Myra came by that evening and found me staring at the wall. She sat across from me on my bed, holding a thin old book with a very careful expression. "He asked you to be available," Myra repeated. "Yes." "And you said yes." "Yes." She sat very slowly. "Elena, do you know what the old shifter texts say about the sight bond? A human who witnesses an alpha in a moment of true unguarded vulnerability becomes connected to them. Not magically, not immediately, progressively. The bond doesn't announce itself. It grows, and once it has grown..." "What?" I said. "It cannot be undone," she said. "It becomes part of you, and you feel him, even when he's not near, like a direction, like knowing which way north is all the time." I stared at her. "I've been feeling a strange warmth in my chest since last night," I said slowly. Myra's face told me everything. That night, lying in the dark, I felt it for the first time. Not thoughts, not imagination, a direction, like a compass finding north somewhere in my chest, pointing with quiet certainty toward the upper palace, toward him. I pressed both hands over my heart and I thought, this is not nothing. This is not nothing, and I do not know what to do with it, and tomorrow I am supposed to have breakfast with Lord Aldrich and pretend my whole life is still exactly the shape he expects it to be.